Hello, everyone, and welcome back to G-Flix. Next episode in now.
Okay, you want to know something that I actually disdain about autoplay is that there's either no way to turn it off on anything, or the menu to find to turn off autoplay is like hidden in some, like wee corner of the site where you have to like go through 5 dungeons and slay the dragon in order to turn it off. Because what if I don't want to fall asleep during the middle of a show and then have Netflix think that I've watched episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 when I didn't, and now I don't remember where I am anymore. So anyway, fuck autoplay. I hope it dies and never comes back.
I like it when Netflix pauses my binge session to confirm if I'm still watching the series.
You want to? It's because like the worst thing about autoplay is that they also automatically skip the theme song and fuck you. No.
Well, it depends on the show, but sometimes
no, fuck you. And every time.
Well, the thing is, like they'll offer a skip intro for an intro that's only like 10 seconds long. It's like, seriously?
By the time I reach for my remote and click it, it's already over.
Yeah, it's like the intro is already over. And yes, I am still watching Better Call Saul. Stop asking me in that condescending tone.
Are you still watching Better Call
Saul?
Yeah, it is. You know what? I never thought about it that way, but yeah, it is a little like, insulting the way that they kind of phrase it. It's just like, wow, are you still watching Paw Patrol? Maybe I am. Who's to ask you? All right. Jerk.
Sounds like someone doesn't want their $14.99. Whatever the fuck Netflix charges nowadays, I don't know.
It'll be like $32 a month before long. Listen, I'm not happy about it either, but I'm right.
Well, listen, I know folks that fucking pay for streaming services and still have a satellite subscription too.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's an enormous waste of money.
Man, I can't imagine that, that having to pay for 5 different subscription services that are all $20 a month would ever be a waste of money.
No, but we all knew that was like the end goal for that sort of shit years ago.
What, to just do cable with extra steps?
Yeah, essentially. Like, once it was because what was like the warning sign, right? When folks started branching out from Netflix.
Well, I mean, there was always going to be competitors. Like, that's like the point of capitalism, is that you have choices. But it's more like when you get the Disney Plus bundle and it comes with ESPN Plus and Hulu and some other in National Geographic and all this other shit. I think that's when you realize that, oh, wait a minute. They're selling me shit I don't need to get more money out of me.
They wouldn't.
The mouse try to get more money out of you? Never.
Fine. A powerful rat named Charles Entertainment Cheers.
Wrong mouse.
No, they try to get more money out of you too.
I just like saying that. That guy phased out of the wall.
Yeah.
Man, it's just, I hate the fact that his middle name is Entertainment. First off, screw his parents for putting that pressure on him as a young child. Second off,
I'm never calling this rat Charles. Sorry. You're always gonna be Chuck to me. Charles is when you're getting sued.
Yeah.
Or getting called out in a class by a teacher who doesn't like you.
Yeah, probably. Hello, Charles.
Like, can you imagine Chuck E. Cheese as some rapscallion little kid, and then he like breaks the TV or something, and then his parents are like, Charles Entertainment Cheese, you go to your room this instant. I don't think you can imagine it. All right, yeah.
No.
No, not at all. I had no follow-up to it.
What's the gimmick for the next area that we're entering? Because it looks like it's just boxes.
It's just boxes.
Okay.
Every way to earn money and get tokens to enter the fight in the first place is just fights against mooks. So it's not super different. That's partially why I was doing the New Game Plus, so I had plenty of money, so I didn't have to grind for anything.
That makes sense. I'm sure we probably already asked this at some point, but do you miss like having real stages, or do you think like this
is fine
better...
if there was more variety into them, because this gives you options on how you earn the money, because there are the usual No More Heroes mini games and all that, so.
And there's not really a problem with that. I just more am thinking about like how in the first two games, from what I remember at the very least, it had a much more standard structure. Like there was the mini games and exploration, and then you did a level, and then you did a boss. Like, do you feel like there's a missing part where it's kind of just the first and third parts of that and not like having a real stage? Like, do you ever miss that, or is that...
I do a little bit.
A little bit? Okay. I mean, not that from what I remember there was a ton of depth to the levels in the original games. I think they were mostly kind of hallway simulators to some extent, but
there was stuff to fight at least.
Yeah.
But this is just taking the hallways and breaking them up into individual rooms.
I suppose that does have more variety. Well, I mean, I guess you're experiencing the different parts of the game more spread out, I suppose. That's something.
Yeah.
Well, the game seems to be the hodgepodge of like elements of the first two games.
And 3. And the Travis Strikes Again.
And yeah, I keep forgetting that game exists.
Well, what did they bring specifically from Travis Strikes Again?
The power moves, which are on the below your heart there, the little squares.
Okay.
And he's a little bit more fast and snappy compared to the first two games.
Did they ever bring No More Heroes 2 off the Wii, or was it just the first game?
It's on Switch.
It's on Switch? Okay.
Is it just on Switch, or was it brought to
Steam?
other
I have no
platforms
idea.
as well?
I'm
Let's
pretty sure it's
find
on
out.
Actually, let me check. Let's find out. Fucking, we got this shit called the internet.
Yep, No More Heroes 2, Desperate.
District struggle. It's Travis trying to start the gentrification of Santa Destroy.
There are people over 30 in Santa Destroy.
Travis is over 40.
Travis is over 40.
Oh, damn. You're right. What are the materials you do?
They upgrade your chips.
Okay.
I don't really use them because you have to get a lot of them.
Yeah, you're also probably already at max
I'm
level
already
anyway,
overpowered.
so...
I'm max level on everything right now, so yeah. You have these segments again.
You walk onto the highway sidewalk and you see Ye Flask.
You ask yourself why you cannot get Ye Flask still. Even
I was actually just watching a long play of Peasant's Quest like last week.
Peasant's Quest is legitimately a very, very good parody of like those old King's Quest
Adventures
style games, because
Right.
like those games are like actually like I mean they're interesting and fun, but like in terms of like trying to figure out how you're supposed to do shit, they're cryptic as all hell. So like
Yeah, they really are.
when you do stuff like examining the drawer and then you just die for no reason, that actually is quite accurate to what the game actually felt like back in the day.
You ever play Shadowgate?
I did not play. Is Shadowgate like the NES one?
Yeah.
I watched your Let's Play of it 10,000 years ago. That game sucks. Because that's like the point and click adventure, but it's on the NES and it's terrible.
It's like everything kills you.
Yeah, it's just like oh, I'm gonna examine the wall. You die.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is one way to extend your game time before you're allowed to like have a game that is more than 10 megabytes. You just
It's not even. NES. It probably didn't even reach 100 kilobytes.
it's Shadowrun, right? Like, hold on.
Shadowgate.
Hold on.
Shadowgate.
How long is like the Shadowgate speed run? Hold on, because I bet like if you can beat it in 15 minutes if you know what the actual
What
like
you're doing.
right route is. So yeah, that's like. Yeah, fuck that. I do have to say, though, I do love the art style that this game is going for. I don't remember the first two games having this, like, variety of, like, colors. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, the game having this distinct color palette is very much this game's signature.
Yeah. Doesn't help that the first two games were on the Wii, which could only handle so much.
Yeah, a lot of Wii games are kind of dark when
Yeah.
you kind of look back at them.
It depends on the game. I would argue it depends on the game.
Yeah, I mean, it does depend on the game.
I would argue that No More Heroes art style in the first two games was very much deliberate. It was essentially just an extension of what they were already accomplishing with Killer 7 and what was another game beforehand? I'm drawing a blank on what it was.
I can't remember.
But yeah. So they're like it was deliberate. I wouldn't say it was because of a limitation of the consoles. Like they wanted it to have that art style. And it worked because when they ported the game over to the PS3, the first one, they upped the graphics and the game looked worse, in my opinion.
I mean, it could be an instance of restrictions breeding creativity in that they made the game look like that so that because they wanted to make it look as good as they could with the graphics that they had. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. I know that was something you saw a lot of Wii games do, is that they chose a specific art style to not to mask the fact that the Wii had poor performance, but more just to try to do something that was striking while dealing with poor performance. You saw a lot of cel-shaded type games on the Wii. You saw a lot of interesting art styles on the Wii, a lot of 2D games, things like that. Games that focused on things like colors and whatnot, just so that they could kind of stand out, because nobody wanted to be the Wii game with bad graphics, is the thing. Because that was a big issue that a lot of games did deal with at the time, was like, I remember reviews for a lot of the original Wii games being like, this looks like an N64 game, especially when you're talking about the launch titles. And I mean, they're kind of not wrong. Like, you probably could run Wii Sports on the N64, maybe not on at that frame rate, but you probably could do the gameplay on N64. I would imagine it's not a super stressful game tech-wise.
I have to argue, what are they comparing it to though? Like around that time, because I think there comes to a point where when you look at a game's given art style and you see that it's very simple, to compare it to whatever was contemporary around the time is fruitless. There's no point. There's no value in that.
There is also the argument, like, how well did that art style age? Because you could easily make the argument that a lot of Wii games have aged better than contemporaries on the PS3 and Xbox 360, because they went for something that would look more timeless. Like,
well, at least they went for something that was realistic at the time.
Yeah, like you could pretty easily, I would imagine, take a look at something like, I don't know, Wario Land Shake It, which definitely held better than a lot of 3D action games that were going on the Xbox 360 and PS3 and be like, yeah, that looks better.
Yeah.
Now, like, I don't know how well the graphics on the original like Gears of War, for example, hold up. Probably not great, unless looking at it very specifically at that time period. Actually, I'm gonna take a moment and look up some No More Heroes Wii screenshots, because it has been a hot minute since I've looked at the game like actually running on the Wii. And I mean, aside from like a very common thing about that time period is that the geometry is very basic. Like, I'm looking at these screenshots just as an example, and the hallway, you know, it's a lot of pretty basic rooms and hallways, you know. There's not a lot of complicated geometry, where if we look at this game just as an example, like already in the background you can see much more complicated buildings, for example, than you saw on the overworld in No More Heroes 1 and 2.
I mean, to a point, this is still pretty barren.
It is
but we're
still
also
pretty barren, but like
but we're also like around up here and around this part of the city.
like I'm looking like more specifically in the background, like this kind of rounded building that we're right in front of right now. You wouldn't see in a Wii game. You would. I guess that's another thing, in that like the poses and the animations are a lot more expressive considering the time too. But like in terms of like the fidelity of the models, like Travis on the Wii, from what I'm looking at right now, still looks pretty damn good, all things considered. He's still the part's over.
Yeah.